They say we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about the depths of our own planet. For centuries, we have drilled, tunneled, and dug in search of minerals and meaning, yet what lies beneath remains wrapped in shadow. What if beneath our feet there is more than stone and magma? What if there are worlds within the world itself, hidden civilizations untouched by time, ancient lights still burning in a place no sunlight has ever reached? Throughout history, whispers of an inner world have echoed from every corner of the earth. The Greeks spoke of Hades, the Hindus told of Patala, the Buddhists envisioned Shambhala, and explorers in every age chased rumors of vast caverns leading to a paradise below. The idea refused to die. From sacred texts to secret expeditions, from ancient maps to modern conspiracies, humanity has been haunted by the question of what lies beneath the crust of our own home. Some claim there are tunnels stretching thousands of miles connecting the poles. Others insist that deep within those tunnels lives an advanced civilization older than ours, watching silently as we stumble through history. Governments deny it, scientists reject it. But believers point to strange lights near the poles, magnetic anomalies, and the forbidden expeditions that vanished without a trace. They call it the Hollow Earth theory, and for those who dare to look closer, it is far more than just a myth. Tonight, we are going to descend into that mystery. We will follow the trail of explorers who claimed to have seen its inner sun. We will sift through ancient legends and modern accounts that suggest the Earth itself might be alive, breathing, and hiding its own secrets. Whether it is the last great frontier or humanity's oldest illusion, one thing is certain. Once you hear what has been said about the world beneath us, you will never look at the ground the same way again. Every great mystery begins with a question that refuses to fade. For as long as humans have looked up to the stars, we have also wondered about what lies below. The ground beneath our feet feels solid, certain, and unchanging, yet ancient stories tell of realms that stretch downward like inverted heavens. Long before the term Hollow Earth existed, our ancestors imagined the planet as a layered reality, with one world above and many below. In ancient Egypt, priests spoke of Duat, a vast underworld where the sun god Ra journeyed each night before rising again. The Greeks believed in Hades, a hidden realm reached through secret caverns. The Norse spoke of Svartalfheim, the land of the dark elves who forged weapons beneath the roots of the world tree. In India, the Vedic texts described Patala, a subterranean world filled with shining cities and serpent-like beings. Across the ocean, the Maya told of Xibalba, a dark place beneath the earth where gods tested the souls of men. Different cultures, different names, yet a single idea uniting them all: that the earth's depths are alive with power and mystery. For centuries, these were seen as myths, sacred allegories meant to explain death, rebirth, and the hidden workings of nature. But during the age of exploration and scientific curiosity, myths began to transform into theories. The 17th century brought a new way of thinking, where faith in observation and calculation replaced the stories of the past. And yet, even as science rose, so did imagination. It was in this atmosphere that the first true scientific version of the Hollow Earth theory appeared. In 1692, an English astronomer named Edmund Halley, best known for discovering Halley's Comet, proposed something extraordinary. Studying the Earth's magnetic field, he noticed strange irregularities, changes that he could not explain with a solid planet. His conclusion was daring for his time. Halley suggested that the Earth might be composed of several concentric shells, each separated by its own atmosphere, and each possibly inhabited by life. He imagined auroras as the glowing breath of this hidden world escaping through the poles. Halley's peers found the idea fascinating but fanciful, yet his name gave the theory a kind of legitimacy it would never lose. Over the next century, the hollow earth became a canvas for thinkers, dreamers, and visionaries. In the early 19th century, a retired American Army captain named John Cleves Sims took Halley's idea and turned it into a public crusade. Sims declared that the Earth was hollow and habitable inside, with wide openings at both poles. He even claimed he could prove it if the government funded an expedition. In 1822, he petitioned Congress for support to explore the Arctic and discover the entrance to this inner world. The request was denied, but his passion sparked a movement. Lectures, pamphlets, and newspaper articles spread the vision of a paradise below, a place untouched by war or decay. Sims became a legend, mocked by scientists, yet worshipped by followers who believed he was uncovering a cosmic truth. In the mid-19th century, another figure carried the torch further into the strange. Cyrus Teed, a physician and mystic, claimed in the 1870s that humanity did not live on the outside of the Earth at all but within it. His theory, known as cellular cosmogony, argued that the universe was inside the hollow interior, and the stars were reflections of a central sun. He founded a religious community called the Koreshan Unity in Florida, building an entire society around the belief that humanity dwells inside a divine sphere. To modern ears, it sounds absurd, yet Teed's movement attracted thousands of followers and lasted decades after his death. These early theorists transformed the idea of the hollow earth from a whisper of mythology into a complex worldview. Their writings blended science, religion, and hope, suggesting that within the depths of the planet lies not darkness but light. It was a rebellion against the growing coldness of industrial progress, a yearning for discovery that the modern world seemed to have lost. The hollow earth promised hidden continents, pure civilizations, and perhaps even an answer to humanity's ancient longing for connection to something greater than itself. As the 19th century turned into the 20th, explorers began pushing into the Arctic and Antarctic, seeking to map every inch of the globe. Yet rumors persisted that no one had truly reached the poles, that certain regions remained curiously off-limits, shrouded in mist and magnetic distortion. The idea that entrances to another world might exist there began to gain traction once again. The myth of the hollow earth was no longer just a relic of ancient imagination. It had become a living legend, waiting for someone brave enough to descend and find out if the earth really hides another civilization beneath its crust. And so, as modern science advanced and humanity reached higher into the skies, others began to look downward once more. They asked if Halley and Sims might have been right after all, if perhaps the Earth itself still guards a secret beneath the poles, one that connects every ancient myth and every unexplained anomaly. The question had not died. It had only gone deeper. By the dawn of the 20th century, maps of the world were nearly complete. Mountains had been climbed, oceans charted, and continents connected by steel rails and telegraph lines. Yet the poles remained shrouded in mystery. They were vast, frozen, and deadly, places where compasses spun uselessly and where entire expeditions vanished into white oblivion. For those who believed in the hollow earth, these frozen deserts were not just the edge of the world, but gateways to another one. Among the names most often whispered in connection to that belief stands one man, Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd of the United States Navy. Byrd was no ordinary explorer. A decorated aviator and polar pioneer, he became a hero of his time, leading expeditions to both the North and South Poles. But behind the medals and official reports lies a tale that has fueled one of the most enduring legends of the modern era. In 1926, Byrd made his first flight over the North Pole, and later, in 1929, he flew over the South Pole. Both missions earned him national fame and international recognition. Yet years later, stories began to circulate that not all of Byrd's discoveries had been made public. Some claimed that in 1947, during a mission known as Operation High Jump, Byrd and his crew encountered something that defied every law of nature. Operation High Jump was a real military expedition. Organized by the U.S. Navy shortly after World War II, it involved more than 4,000 men, 13 ships, and dozens of aircraft. Officially, its purpose was to test equipment in polar conditions and establish research bases. Unofficially, it sparked endless speculation. Why would such a massive operation be needed for a simple research mission? Some believed the United States was racing to uncover something hidden beneath the ice, perhaps remnants of a secret Nazi base, or even the entrance to the hollow earth itself. The legend grew stronger when reports surfaced of an alleged secret diary written by Admiral Byrd. According to this supposed document, during his polar flight, Byrd claimed to have seen something extraordinary, a lush valley filled with vegetation and animals unlike any known species. He described seeing mammoth-like creatures, rivers of warm water, and cities that shimmered beneath an internal sun. He also wrote of encountering beings of great height and intelligence who communicated telepathically and warned humanity about its self-destructive ways. The diary ends abruptly, with Byrd being summoned to Washington for questioning, after which the account was said to be classified. Historians and scientists have long dismissed the story as a fabrication. No verified copy of Byrd's diary has ever been found, and the details contradict the physical realities of polar geography. Yet the legend refuses to fade. Supporters argue that the government silenced Byrd and buried the evidence to prevent global panic. To them, the secrecy surrounding polar expeditions, the restricted military zones, and the absence of civilian flights over certain regions are not coincidences, but signs of a deeper truth. The idea of lost civilizations hidden beneath the poles also found new life in another legend. The claim that remnants of Nazi Germany had fled to the South Pole at the end of World War II and established secret bases there. Conspiracy theorists connected this with the Hollow Earth narrative, suggesting that Nazi scientists had discovered entrances to the inner world and made contact with its inhabitants. The supposed technology derived from this contact, they argued, explained the sudden leaps in aerospace advancements during the mid-20th century. Although mainstream historians reject these tales, they reveal something powerful about the human imagination. The unknown regions of our planet have always been fertile ground for myth. In the 19th century, explorers filled the blank spaces on maps with monsters and wonders. In the 20th century, when satellites erased those blanks, we began to fill the void with new myths hidden under the surface instead of beyond it. The Hollow Earth legend evolved from geography into psychology, from exploration into belief. Admiral Byrd's story continues to appear in countless documentaries, books, and online discussions. Each retelling reshapes the details, yet the emotional core remains unchanged. A decorated hero flies into the unknown and finds a world within a world. The image is haunting, cinematic, and deeply symbolic. Whether fact or fiction, the tale satisfies something primal in us, the hope that there are still secrets left in a world that feels entirely mapped and measured. Byrd's alleged discovery reignited public fascination with the Hollow Earth, and gave rise to countless new theories. Some claimed the entrances to this hidden world were not just at the poles, but scattered across the globe. Others argued that advanced beings from within occasionally emerged to guide human civilization or to warn it of catastrophe. Writers and filmmakers began to weave these ideas into popular culture, turning an old myth into a modern legend. But beyond fiction, one truth endures. The story of Bird and Operation High Jump symbolizes humanity's constant hunger for the unknown. The more we conquer the visible world, the more we yearn for mysteries that lie beyond reach. And so the legend of the hollow earth persisted, drawing new believers into its depths, waiting for the next explorer bold enough to go where others dared not. As the legend of the hollow earth took root in the modern age, new layers of myth began to grow upon its surface, like roots reaching deeper into the unknown. Among these layers emerged two names whispered across centuries and continents, Agartha and Shambhala. To believers, they were not mere places, but symbols of an ancient and advanced civilization hidden beneath the crust of the earth. To skeptics, they were echoes of humanity's oldest longing for a perfect world untouched by corruption and decay. Either way, these names would become inseparable from the story of what might lie beneath our feet. The word Agartha first appeared in the writings of 19th-century mystics and occult philosophers in Europe, but its roots stretch far older into the heart of Asia. It is often described as a vast subterranean kingdom connected to the surface by tunnels that run beneath every continent. According to the myth, Agartha is illuminated not by the outer sun, but by an inner one, a radiant core that provides warmth and light to its inhabitants. Within this hidden world, it is said that an ancient civilization thrives, ruled by wise beings who have preserved knowledge long forgotten by humankind. Agartha's people are often portrayed as descendants of Lemuria, or Atlantis, survivors of cataclysms that destroyed their surface empires. They retreated into the earth, taking with them their technology, their philosophies, and their peace. Over millennia, they developed advanced sciences, mastered clean energy, and perfected a way of life in harmony with nature and spirit. They are said to be taller than humans, radiant in appearance, and capable of communicating telepathically. According to certain accounts, they occasionally visit the surface world, guiding prophets, scientists, and visionaries at moments when humanity stands at the edge of destruction. Shambhala, often linked to Agartha, arises from Tibetan and Indian traditions, yet it is far more than a legend of geography. In Buddhist and Hindu texts, Shambhala is a divine kingdom, hidden somewhere beyond the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas, invisible to ordinary eyes. It is described as a land of purity and wisdom, where compassion governs all and where the ultimate teachings of enlightenment are preserved for the day the world is ready to receive them again. Some versions of the hollow earth myth merge Shambhala with Agartha, claiming they are the same place viewed through different cultural lenses, one spiritual and one physical. In the early 20th century, explorers, spiritual seekers, and occult societies in the West became fascinated with these Eastern myths. Theosophists such as Helena Blavatsky and later writers like Ferdinand Ossendowski described encounters with monks and mystics who spoke of underground sanctuaries where ancient masters resided. These hidden teachers, they claimed, influenced the course of human civilization, sending out messages of balance and warning whenever mankind strayed too far from harmony. To some, this was a poetic metaphor. To others, it was literal truth. They believed Shambhala and Agartha were the heart of an inner world that physically existed beneath the mountains of Tibet, and extended all the way to the poles. Accounts began to blend science fiction with sacred myth. Reports told of tunnels connecting Lhasa to the deserts of Gobi and even to the North Pole itself. Some explorers insisted that strange lights and mechanical sounds could be heard deep within the earth, near sacred mountain passes. Local guides spoke of beings who emerged from hidden doorways only to vanish again when approached. Even the Dalai Lama acknowledged Shambhala as a real place, though one accessible only to those of pure heart and enlightened mind. To believers in the hollow earth, this was proof that ancient wisdom keepers still guarded the entrances to the inner world. Western fascination with these legends reached its peak in the interwar years, when writers and secret societies in Europe sought links between the lost knowledge of the East and the destiny of mankind. Some German occult groups became obsessed with Agartha and Shambhala, interpreting them as sources of Aryan origin and hidden power. These ideas, distorted by ideology, would later influence Nazi mythology and feed into the rumors of secret expeditions to Tibet and Antarctica. What began as a spiritual vision of peace became entangled with political ambitions and pseudoscience, adding another shadow to the myth of the hollow earth. Yet beneath all these interpretations, a more profound idea remains. The concept of Agartha and Shambhala speaks to the hope that somewhere, beyond the noise and destruction of the surface world, a civilization still exists in harmony with nature and spirit. It is a dream of balance, of wisdom untouched by greed, of beings who have mastered both technology and soul. Whether real or imagined, this vision continues to capture the imagination of millions because it reflects what humanity yearns for, but has not yet achieved. If the hollow earth exists, perhaps Agartha and Shambhala are not simply cities of stone and light. Perhaps they are reminders of what humanity could become if it learned to look inward as deeply as it looks outward. In that sense, the myth endures not because it hides truth, but because it reveals something about us. The deeper we dig into the earth, the more we uncover the layers of our own desire for perfection, for peace, and for something greater waiting in the dark. Every legend eventually meets the hard edge of science. For centuries, the hollow earth theory has lived in the space between wonder and reason. But as the modern age advanced, the boundaries of mystery began to shrink. Geologists, physicists, and explorers turned their gaze downward with the same precision that astronomers once reserved for the stars. What they found did not reveal hidden kingdoms or inner suns, but an intricate and powerful planet built upon forces far more complex than myth had ever imagined. To understand why the hollow earth theory conflicts with science, we must first look at what Earth truly is. Modern seismology, the study of how vibrations travel through the planet, allows scientists to map its inner structure. When earthquakes strike, the waves they produce move through different materials at measurable speeds. By recording those waves across the globe, researchers have built a clear picture of the Earth's interior. What they discovered is a world layered like an onion, each part distinct and immense. Beneath the thin crust on which we live lies the mantle, a vast sea of semi-solid rock that flows slowly over millions of years. Beneath that mantle lies the outer core, a swirling ocean of molten iron and nickel that generates the planet's magnetic field. At the very center sits the inner core, a solid sphere of compressed metal, hotter than the surface of the sun. From crust to core, every layer is dense, dynamic, and alive with movement. There is no space within it for vast, empty chambers or civilizations untouched by time. Yet even with such evidence, the allure of the hollow earth remains. Part of its endurance lies in the mystery of what science cannot directly show. Humanity has never drilled more than a fraction of the way to the mantle. The deepest hole ever created, the Kola super deep borehole in Russia, reaches only about 12 kilometers, barely a scratch on a planet nearly 13,000 kilometers in diameter. Beyond that, our knowledge depends entirely on indirect measurement. To the skeptic, that limitation leaves room for doubt. If we have not seen the interior with our own eyes, could the theories of science be wrong or incomplete? Supporters of the hollow Earth theory often point to anomalies that seem to defy explanation. They mention strange magnetic readings near the poles, reports of deep rumbling sounds, and the discovery of massive cave systems that stretch for hundreds of miles beneath the surface. Some even cite ancient myths as coded memories of real events, stories passed down from civilizations that once lived below. In their view, the scientific model of Earth explains only what we can measure, not what we might be missing. But the scientific community holds firm. The evidence for a solid Earth is overwhelming. Seismic data, gravitational measurements, and satellite imagery all align with the model of a dense, layered planet. The energy required to sustain a hollow shell large enough to hold a sun would collapse under its own weight. The physics simply does not allow it. Even so, the hollow Earth continues to thrive in the realm of possibility, not because it challenges data, but because it challenges imagination. Science itself cannot extinguish curiosity. In fact, it often fuels it. Every time humanity has declared a frontier closed, new mysteries have emerged. The ocean floor was once thought to be lifeless, until deep-sea explorers found thriving ecosystems near volcanic vents. The skies were once believed empty, until telescopes revealed entire galaxies beyond our own. Perhaps it is this pattern that gives the hollow Earth its strange persistence. Each discovery reminds us that reality is larger and stranger than we once believed, even if the specific myths are not true. Some scientists have quietly admitted that the Earth's interior still holds questions. There are pockets of material that behave unexpectedly, regions of unusual density, and unexplained fluctuations in the magnetic field. None of these point to a vast inner world, but they do remind us that our planet is not yet fully understood. The hollow Earth may not exist as a physical place, but as a metaphor, it continues to inspire new ways of thinking about what lies beneath us. In the end, the divide between science and myth is not as wide as it seems. Both are driven by the same human instinct to explore. The scientist digs for data, the believer digs for meaning, and somewhere in the middle lies the truth of why we keep searching. The hollow Earth theory, for all its impossibilities, endures because it mirrors our deepest desire: to believe that the unknown is not an end, but a beginning. As the story unfolds, we leave the laboratories and return to the mysteries of the land itself. Across the world there are caves so vast they seem endless, openings that plunge into darkness deeper than any man has measured. Some say these are not just geological wonders, but the mouths of the hidden world itself. And if that were true, then somewhere beneath the mountains and jungles of our planet, the entrance to another civilization might still be waiting to be found. If there truly were another world beneath our feet, there would have to be a way in. Throughout history, stories of hidden entrances have appeared on every continent, whispered by travelers, monks, and explorers who claimed to have seen impossible depths. These tales speak of caverns that seem to breathe, of mountains that open and close like living things, of places where compasses lose their minds and sound itself seems to vanish. To believers, these are not coincidences of geology. but the gates to the inner world. Some of the most enduring legends begin where the earth feels most alive, in its vast cave systems. The jungles of Vietnam hold one of the greatest wonders ever discovered, the Son Doong Cave. So massive that entire skyscrapers could fit inside, it contains its own river, clouds, and even isolated ecosystems. Scientists marvel at its size, but to those drawn to the hollow earth theory, Son Doong is a reminder that our planet still hides worlds within it. If a single cave can hold a jungle and a storm, who can say what lies deeper where no light has ever reached? In North America, the Mammoth Cave system stretches for hundreds of miles beneath Kentucky, an underground labyrinth that has swallowed explorers for centuries. Local legends tell of creatures and strange lights seen deep within, of chambers that echo with whispers when no one is there. To the native peoples who lived on that land long before the caves were mapped, these passages were sacred, believed to be doorways between worlds. Even now, scientists admit that vast portions of Mammoth Cave remain uncharted, disappearing into narrow tunnels too dangerous for man to follow. Far to the south, in the deserts and mountains of South America, explorers have spoken of other entrances. In Ecuador, there is the Cueva de los Tallos, the Cave of the Oil Birds, where rumors claim the discovery of metal libraries and ancient artifacts far beyond known history. The late Neil Armstrong himself joined an expedition there in the 1970s, hoping to uncover its secrets. What he found was never fully disclosed, and while no evidence of a lost civilization was revealed, the story only deepened the mystery. For those who believe, such caves are not isolated anomalies, but part of a network of tunnels connecting continents, forming the arteries of the living planet. Then there are the legends of the poles. Many who embrace the hollow earth theory insist that the true entrances lie at the north and south poles, hidden beneath the ice. They describe vast openings large enough for aircraft to pass through, leading to an interior world illuminated by a central sun. Satellite images are often cited as proof, with blurry or missing data interpreted as evidence of government concealment. Although geographers explain these distortions as technical errors caused by the way maps are projected, the mystery remains irresistible. The poles are places few have seen, and the unknown always invites belief. Ancient cultures also spoke of sacred gateways that seem to fit within this same pattern. The Incas told of the Puerta de Hayu Marca, the Gate of the Gods, carved into the mountains of Peru. Local shamans claimed that when a special golden disc was placed into its hollow, a portal opened to another realm. In India, the Himalayas were said to guard hidden paths to Shambhala. In Tibet, entire monasteries were built over deep caverns where monks meditated in silence, listening to what they called the voice of the earth. The legends differ, but their symbols align: openings in mountains, lights beneath the ground, and guardians who protect the threshold between two worlds. Modern technology has added another layer to the intrigue. Scientists have detected massive voids beneath the ice of Antarctica, spaces so large that some speculate they could contain hidden lakes or entire ecosystems sealed off for millions of years. Officially, these anomalies are explained by variations in ice density, but the idea of an unknown expanse below the frozen surface feeds the imagination. The combination of inaccessibility, secrecy, and discovery makes the poles perfect breeding grounds for speculation. When satellite images go dark or restricted zones appear on maps, believers see not technical error, but deliberate concealment. The fascination with hidden gates is not simply about geography. It is about what those gates represent. Every legend tells the same story in a different form. that there are places on Earth where the veil between worlds grows thin, where the known and the unknown meet in silence. In a time when every corner of the globe seems mapped and measured, these myths offer a reminder that mystery still exists. They tell us that the Earth is not just a rock in space, but a living entity with secrets of its own. For those who seek the entrances to the inner world, the search is both literal and symbolic. Some dig through mountains, while others search through ancient texts. Some look for tunnels, while others look inward, believing that the gate to the hidden world might not be in a cave or a pole, but within the unexplored depths of the human spirit. Whether real or imagined, the idea of these gates endures because it promises something that science cannot give, a doorway to wonder itself. And so the maps remain unfinished, the mountains still whisper, and the explorers still return with tales of vast caverns and blinding lights beneath the earth. Whether these gates open to stone or to legend, the stories remind us that the line between the two may be thinner than we think. If the earth is hollow, what kind of world exists inside it? Those who believe in the hollow earth theory often speak of a vast inner realm, a place untouched by war and decay, illuminated not by the sun we know, but by a mysterious inner light. It is said to be a world of eternal spring, where mountains rise like crystal spires and rivers glow with minerals unknown to science. This is not a place of myth alone. According to those who claim to have seen it, there are civilizations thriving beneath our feet, advanced beyond imagination, yet bound by harmony rather than conflict. The earliest descriptions of these hidden societies appeared in ancient texts and oral traditions. In Buddhist legends, Shambhala was a radiant kingdom hidden deep beneath the Himalayas, where enlightened beings guarded knowledge that could save humanity in times of darkness. The Hindus spoke of Patala, a subterranean realm filled with serpentine beings and great palaces of light. The Hopi people of North America told of the ant people who led their ancestors underground to survive a global cataclysm, teaching them wisdom and compassion before guiding them back to the surface. Different names, different continents, yet the pattern remains the same. A civilization beneath, wiser and older than our own. In the 19th and 20th centuries, writers and explorers revived these ancient myths with new conviction. One of the most famous was Admiral Richard E. Byrd, a decorated American aviator who led expeditions to both poles. His journals, whether genuine or apocryphal, describe a flight over the Arctic in which his instruments failed, and he saw lush valleys, rivers, and mammoth-like creatures below. He wrote of meeting beings who told him that humanity was on a dangerous path and that their world existed as a sanctuary from the chaos above. To believers, Byrd's story is not a fantasy, but a testimony that modern man has glimpsed the truth. Those who speak of the inner civilization often describe its inhabitants as both human and something beyond human. They are said to stand taller, radiate calm, and communicate without words. Their cities, carved from luminous crystal, are powered by energies unknown to surface science. Some accounts describe technologies that can harness the magnetic fields of the earth itself, creating light, healing, and even flight. These beings are sometimes called the Agarthans, said to descend from ancient peoples who retreated beneath the earth after great cataclysms destroyed their empires. Atlantis, Lemuria, and Mu are all said to have sent their survivors into the depths, where they built a new world far from the reach of time. In these stories, the inner civilization is not just advanced in science, but in spirit. They have mastered the balance between nature and technology, between power and peace. Their society has no hunger, no war, and no greed. They understand the Earth not as a resource to exploit, but as a living being, an organism whose health mirrors their own. They see themselves as the caretakers of the planet's inner life, while humanity on the surface struggles with the sickness of disconnection. To them, we are the younger race, reckless and restless, yet capable of awakening. The belief in such a civilization also serves as a reflection of our own longings. In every era, people have dreamed of a world better than their own, a world of justice and beauty hidden from the corruption of power. The idea of a perfect society beneath the ground is not merely a theory of geography, but a vision of redemption. It tells us that somewhere, somehow, purity still exists, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Whether we call it Agartha, Shambhala, or the inner world, it becomes a mirror for our highest ideals. Some accounts claim that contact between surface and inner civilizations has already occurred. There are stories of secret meetings between governments and the Agarthans, of messages delivered through telepathic channels, warning of coming disasters if humanity does not change its ways. Others tell of explorers who vanished after finding the entrances, never to return, as if they had chosen to stay. These tales are impossible to verify, yet they persist, repeated across generations with conviction that no amount of skepticism can erase. Science rejects the notion of a habitable world inside the Earth, pointing out that pressure and heat at those depths would make life impossible. But for believers, such explanations only reveal the limits of human understanding. They argue that what we call science today is still young, and that our instruments are blind to forces older and greater than our civilization. They say the Earth is not a solid sphere, but a living body with layers of energy, and that life, in forms beyond our imagination, could exist within it. The idea of a hidden civilization beneath us continues to inspire exploration, art, and philosophy. It challenges our assumptions about isolation and connection, reminding us that mystery still lies below the surface of what we know. Whether or not such beings exist in physical form, their image continues to shape human thought. They represent wisdom without arrogance, power without cruelty, and progress without destruction. In them, humanity sees both what we have lost and what we still hope to become. Perhaps that is why the hollow earth theory refuses to fade. It offers not only a question about the structure of our planet, but a deeper question about ourselves. Are we truly alone upon this world, or are we part of a vast and hidden story that has been unfolding since the beginning of time? And if such a civilization does exist, watching from the depths, what do they think of the world we have made above? Every great mystery is carried forward by the stories of those who claim to have seen what others cannot. The hollow earth theory is no different. For more than a century, explorers, soldiers, and wanderers have come forward with testimonies of encounters they could not explain. Their words form a strange chorus of belief, woven from fragments of journals, letters, and whispered confessions that continue to defy the boundaries of reason. Among the most famous of these accounts are the diaries attributed to Admiral Richard E. Byrd. In the years following his polar expeditions, documents surfaced describing a secret flight over the Arctic in which Byrd allegedly entered a vast opening and encountered a civilization illuminated by an inner sun. According to the writings, the beings he met spoke perfect English and radiated calm. They warned him that humanity's obsession with nuclear power would destroy the surface world, and that they had watched our species for centuries. The message, they said, was not one of threat, but of sorrow. Official records of Byrd's missions contain no such details, Yet believers argue that the truth was buried under layers of military secrecy. Another curious account comes from the late 19th century when Olaf Jansen, a Norwegian sailor, published a book titled The Smoky God. Jansen claimed that he and his father sailed north through an opening in the Arctic and found themselves in an inner world inhabited by a giant race. They lived there for 2 years, he said, and saw cities of crystal powered by a central sun. When they tried to return, their ship was wrecked, and his father died. Jansen was rescued, but dismissed as insane. His story might have been forgotten if not for the uncanny details he described about polar conditions that were not widely known at the time. To those who believe, that precision makes his story more than fiction. In South America, explorers searching for the legendary City of Gold reported finding immense tunnels carved with mathematical precision beneath the Andes. Some described faint lights glowing from deep within, and others claimed to have seen figures retreating into the dark when approached. In 1976, a man named Juan Morich claimed to have discovered a system of metallic libraries under Ecuador, filled with engraved plates detailing the history of an unknown civilization. Photographs exist of the cave entrances, yet the artifacts themselves have never been confirmed. Skeptics say the story is a hoax, but to those who trust it, it represents proof that remnants of the inner world occasionally reveal themselves to the worthy. Modern testimonies have taken new forms. In the era of aviation and satellite technology, pilots have reported anomalies near the poles where compasses spin and radio contact fades. Some speak of vast circular shadows beneath the ice, seen from high altitude before disappearing into mist. A few even describe strange lights that seem to move intelligently, pulsing in rhythmic patterns as if alive. Scientists attribute these phenomena to magnetic interference or optical illusion, yet they echo the same descriptions made by explorers long before planes ever touched the sky. There are also those who claim personal encounters with beings from beneath. In the 1940s, during the height of the Second World War, rumors spread of German expeditions to Antarctica in search of an underground refuge. Decades later, declassified documents revealed the existence of secret bases, though no evidence of contact with inner civilizations has been verified. Still, the myth grew. By the time of the Cold War, both superpowers were accused of guarding polar secrets too dangerous for the public to know. To believers, such secrecy only strengthened the case that something extraordinary lies hidden. Perhaps the most haunting testimonies come from individuals who returned changed. They speak of dreams filled with radiant cities, of a hum that resonates deep within the earth, of a presence that feels both ancient and watchful. Some claim to have received visions or telepathic messages warning of environmental collapse and urging humanity to reconnect with the planet. These accounts have no scientific proof, but their consistency is unsettling. Across cultures and decades, people describe the same sensations, the same voices, the same message of balance and renewal. If it is delusion, it is a remarkably organized one. Skeptics argue that these stories are born of human imagination and psychological need. They say the inner earth is simply a canvas for our desire to believe in something larger than ourselves. Yet imagination alone cannot explain the endurance of these accounts. They cross centuries, languages, and belief systems, each echoing the same narrative of discovery, warning, and awe. Even if they are myths, they reveal something essential about our nature. We are creatures drawn to the unknown, hungry for meaning in the spaces science has yet to fill. Encounters and testimonies are not the same as evidence, but they shape the way people perceive truth. For believers, Each story is a fragment of a hidden whole, proof that humanity has glimpsed the greater mystery beneath the surface. For others, they are simply parables of wonder, cautionary tales about the line between belief and madness. Yet, regardless of where one stands, these testimonies have kept the hollow earth alive in the human imagination long after reason tried to bury it. Somewhere between myth and memory lies a truth that refuses to disappear. Whether that truth is physical or psychological remains unknown, but it continues to pull at the minds of those who hear it. For the world beneath is not only a place to be found, but an idea that refuses to die, echoing in every cave, every legend, and every story told by those who swear they have seen the light inside the darkness. Every great mystery eventually meets the cold gaze of science. For every legend of hidden worlds and secret civilizations, there are those who demand proof, measurements, and logic. The hollow earth theory has faced such scrutiny since the first explorers imagined its depths, and yet it remains one of the most persistent alternative ideas in human history. To understand why, we must examine what science says, and why so many still refuse to let go of the possibility that our planet is not what it seems. Modern geology describes the Earth as a layered sphere, composed of a thin crust, a vast mantle of molten rock, and a dense core of iron and nickel. Seismic waves from earthquakes travel through these layers, revealing their structure and composition. No evidence suggests an empty interior or a habitable space within. The immense pressure and heat at those depths would crush and incinerate any known form of life. For scientists, this is the end of the discussion. The Earth is solid, dynamic, and utterly inhospitable below its crust. Physicists also point out that the gravitational field of the planet would behave differently if it were hollow. The pull of gravity we experience is consistent with a dense, solid sphere. A hollow Earth would require an entirely different set of physical laws to remain stable. Moreover, no satellite data, no radar scans, and no seismic studies have ever shown a central cavity or inner sun. From a scientific standpoint, the theory collapses under its own weight. Yet believers argue that science, while powerful, is not infallible. They claim that human instruments can only measure what they are designed to detect, and that unknown forms of energy might elude current technology. They point to the limitations of seismic interpretation, suggesting that large voids or networks of caverns could exist without being properly mapped. They also argue that certain discoveries challenge the standard model of Earth's structure, such as unexplained magnetic anomalies and deep subterranean sounds recorded by researchers across the globe. One such phenomenon, known as the hum, has been reported in various regions, a low-frequency vibration that seems to come from within the planet. Scientists have attributed it to natural processes, but others hear in it the pulse of a living world, a signal from something vast and ancient below. These interpretations reveal more than a debate about physics. They show a clash between two worldviews, one that sees the Earth as a machine of matter, and another that views it as a conscious being with secrets of its own. The tension between science and belief also lies in how each defines truth. Science demands repeatable evidence. Belief often relies on experience, intuition, or faith in ancient knowledge. The hollow earth theory thrives in the gap between these two realms. For those who distrust authority or feel that modern institutions hide the truth, the theory becomes a symbol of rebellion. It represents the possibility that there is more to existence than the numbers on a screen, that mystery cannot be reduced to data. Throughout history, Many scientific truths began as heresies. The idea that the Earth orbited the Sun was once considered madness. The existence of germs, continents in motion, or invisible radiation were all dismissed before proof emerged. Believers in the hollow Earth use this history as their defense, claiming that today's ridicule may become tomorrow's revelation. To them, the scientists of the surface are like those who once refused to look through the telescope, afraid of what they might find. But skepticism does not exist to destroy wonder. It exists to protect truth from deception. Most scientists who study the hollow Earth phenomenon do not do so out of disdain, but out of curiosity about human belief. They understand that myths often carry symbolic truths even when the physical evidence is absent. The hollow Earth may not exist as a geographical fact, yet it speaks to something profound about human psychology. Our need to believe in hidden order, in unseen guardians, in the possibility that we are not alone in the cosmos. Some researchers suggest that the myth of the inner world reflects ancient memories of cataclysms that forced humanity underground for survival. During ice ages and global disasters, early people did take refuge in caves, carrying those memories into legend. Over generations, the physical became spiritual, and the real became mythical. What began as survival turned into the story of a paradise below. In this view, the hollow Earth is not false but transformed, a mirror of our own collective past. Even among skeptics, there is a quiet respect for the persistence of the idea. They recognize that the hollow Earth has survived not because it is proven, but because it offers something science cannot easily replace. It gives people a sense of connection to mystery, a feeling that there are still frontiers left to explore. In a world mapped by satellites and defined by equations, the hollow Earth reminds us that imagination still has value. It keeps alive the dream that discovery is not over, that beneath the known world lies another waiting to be found. So the debate continues, not between fact and fiction, but between two ways of seeing. Science looks outward, measuring, analyzing, defining. Belief looks inward, seeking meaning and purpose. Somewhere between the two lies the enduring question that neither side can silence. What if we are missing something? What if the greatest truth of all is that mystery itself is part of the design?
Whenever a story challenges the established view of the world, it attracts not only curiosity, but also fear. The hollow Earth theory is no exception. From its earliest mentions, believers have claimed that powerful forces work to suppress the truth, hiding evidence and silencing those who come too close. Whether these claims are justified or not, they have become an inseparable part of the legend, transforming it from a mere curiosity into a symbol of resistance against the unseen powers that shape our understanding of reality. One of the most enduring claims is that governments, especially those with polar research programs, possess knowledge about the entrances to the inner world. Believers point to classified expeditions, restricted areas, and missing flight logs as signs of deliberate concealment. The poles are among the most controlled and least accessible places on Earth. Large portions of Antarctica are closed to civilian exploration under international treaties, and only selected scientists are permitted to travel there. To those who already suspect a cover-up, this secrecy feels like confirmation rather than coincidence. Documents attributed to military sources have also fueled speculation. Reports of aircraft disappearing near the poles, strange magnetic readings, and radar images showing circular voids beneath the ice are cited as proof of hidden openings. Official explanations attribute these anomalies to equipment malfunction or data distortion. Yet the pattern of mystery persists. When photographs are blurred or satellite maps show missing pixels, believers interpret them as deliberate acts of censorship. For them, the absence of information is itself evidence that something monumental is being concealed. The idea of suppression extends beyond governments. It touches science, media, and even academia. Many argue that the institutions responsible for defining truth have become gatekeepers of knowledge, dismissing any theory that does not fit within the accepted framework. They see the scientific establishment as a fortress, protecting its authority by labeling alternative ideas as pseudoscience. This perception has only grown stronger in the digital age, where algorithms control visibility and narratives are shaped by unseen hands. In such an environment, the Hollow Earth theory thrives as a rebellion against control, a statement that not all truths are meant to be approved. Conspiracy theories surrounding the inner world often connected with other hidden agendas. Some claim that secret organizations, remnants of ancient civilizations, or even extraterrestrial beings maintain contact with the inner inhabitants. According to this view, these powers share a mutual interest in keeping humanity ignorant of the Earth's true nature. The reasons vary. Some say it is to protect the delicate balance of the planet. Others insist it is to preserve dominance, ensuring that only a few hold access to ancient knowledge and technology. Regardless of the version, the message remains the same. What we know is only what we are allowed to know. Stories of suppression often gain credibility because of history itself. Governments have concealed information before. From secret weapons programs to undisclosed discoveries, the idea of hidden knowledge is not purely imaginary. When the public learns that truth has been withheld in the past, it becomes easier to believe that other secrets remain buried. The Hollow Earth becomes a stage on which the drama of mistrust plays out, fueled by the human tendency to see patterns in the unknown. At its heart, belief in conspiracy is not always born from paranoia. It often grows from a sense of powerlessness. In a world governed by distant institutions, many people feel disconnected from truth. The Hollow Earth offers an alternative narrative, one in which the individual can uncover what empires cannot. It promises that knowledge is still sacred and that the world's greatest secrets lie not in government databases, but in the Earth itself. For believers, it is an act of faith that the universe still holds mysteries no authority can control. This belief is reinforced by strange coincidences that seem to weave through history. Whistleblowers who disappear, researchers who retract their findings, and sudden restrictions placed on exploration often appear in discussions of the Hollow Earth. Whether these events are related or merely random, they feed the fire of speculation. Every closed door becomes a potential gateway. Every silence becomes suspicious. Once a person begins to see the world through that lens, everything fits, and nothing can be disproved. To skeptics, this mindset is dangerous, blurring the line between curiosity and obsession. They argue that conspiracy theories can trap people in echo chambers where evidence no longer matters. Yet even they acknowledge that the persistence of such beliefs reveals something profound about human psychology. We crave meaning in chaos. When faced with an indifferent universe, the idea of hidden design feels comforting. It tells us that nothing is random, that someone somewhere holds the answers, even if they choose to hide them. Whether true or imagined, the conspiracy surrounding the Hollow Earth has given it immortality. It no longer exists only as a theory about geology, but as a story about power, secrecy, and the human hunger for truth. Every time a photograph is blurred or a report is redacted, the legend grows stronger. The idea survives not because it is proven, but because it speaks to our collective suspicion that reality is being edited before our eyes. In the end, the question of suppression may matter less than the reason it resonates. The Hollow Earth represents more than hidden tunnels beneath the planet. It symbolizes the hidden chambers of our own minds, the places where wonder and fear meet. where we suspect that behind every curtain of silence lies a truth too vast to comprehend. Whether those gates exist in Antarctica or in the depths of our imagination, the feeling they evoke is the same. The sense that we are standing at the edge of a revelation that someone does not want us to see. Every legend leaves behind an echo. Some fade into silence, others grow stronger with time. The hollow earth theory belongs to the latter. It has survived centuries of skepticism, science, and ridicule because it touches something far deeper than questions of geography or physics. It speaks to the human spirit itself, to our endless hunger for mystery, our refusal to accept that everything has been explained. The idea of a world beneath. The world has become more than a fringe belief. It is transformed into a cultural mirror reflecting our collective hopes and fears. In literature, film, and art, the hollow earth continues to inspire new visions of adventure and revelation. Jules Verne imagined explorers descending through volcanic tunnels into a prehistoric realm and journey to the center of the H.P. Lovecraft turned the inner world into a nightmare of ancient gods and cosmic terror. Even modern cinema revisits the theme, blending science fiction with myth to remind us that the unknown still lurks below the surface of certainty. Each retelling reshapes the legend, yet the essence remains the same. Beneath the crust of the planet lies a reflection of the human imagination, vast and uncharted. Philosophically, the hollow earth has evolved into a metaphor for introspection. To descend into the earth is to descend into oneself. The tunnels and caverns symbolize the subconscious mind, the layers of thought and memory that lie beneath the visible world of reason. The inner sun becomes a symbol of enlightenment, a source of illumination hidden within darkness. In this interpretation, the journey into the hollow earth is not a voyage of geography, but of spirit. It is a descent into mystery for the purpose of understanding what we truly are. Psychologists and cultural historians have long noted that myths endure because they serve a function that logic cannot. They offer meaning where data ends. The hollow earth endures because it reminds us that the universe is not a closed system of facts, but a living story still being written. Whether or not anyone has ever set foot in the world beneath, the idea itself continues to shape our relationship with curiosity. It tells us that knowledge and wonder do not have to be enemies. They can exist together, each pushing the other toward greater depth. For believers, the hollow earth represents hope. It is the promise of refuge from a broken surface world, a vision of harmony and wisdom preserved somewhere beyond reach. For skeptics, it is a parable about belief itself, a cautionary tale about how easily humans can build worlds out of dreams. But for storytellers, philosophers, and explorers of every kind, it remains an invitation to question what lies beyond the horizon, to imagine that even the ground beneath us might hold secrets we have yet to earn. In an age of constant information, when satellites map every mountain and algorithms predict every storm, the hollow earth reminds us that mystery is not a weakness but a necessity. It keeps alive the part of the mind that looks at a cave, a forest, or a night sky and feels awe instead of ownership. It whispers that the unknown is not our enemy, but our oldest companion. Without it, discovery would have no purpose. Without it, wonder would have no place to live. The legend also carries a quiet warning. Every civilization that believed itself complete eventually fell into decay. The hollow earth, whether real or imagined, warns against that arrogance. It tells us that knowledge has layers, and that beneath every truth lies another waiting to be found. The explorers who vanished into the ice, the sailors who swore they saw an inner sun, the monks who spoke of hidden realms of light, all of them remind us that human understanding is never absolute. The journey is endless, and perhaps that is the point. As we return from this descent into the heart of the earth, we are left with a simple realization. The hollow earth may never be proven, but its power lies not in evidence, but in imagination. It bridges the gap between the scientific and the sacred, between the seen and the unseen. It keeps alive the ancient belief that there is more to existence than what we can measure, and that beneath every layer of stone and silence, something still waits to be discovered. That maybe the earth is not hollow at all. Maybe it is we who are hollow, wandering across the surface in search of meaning buried too deep to see. And perhaps that is why this story endures. Because in the end, the hollow earth is not just a place beneath our feet. It is a symbol of the infinite depth within ourselves, the reminder that the greatest discoveries are always made in the dark, and that every mystery, no matter how hidden, begins with the courage to look below.
As the echoes of the hollow earth fade, one truth remains. The world is filled with mysteries that refuse to stay buried. They whisper beneath our feet, flicker in ancient maps, and sleep inside forgotten legends. Maybe they are not waiting to be found. Maybe they are waiting for us to listen. Here, on Forbidden Lore, we travel through the unknown, seeking the hidden and questioning the stories the world has forgotten. If you believe that truth lies beyond the surface, that history still hides secrets in its shadows, then you have found your home. Join us on this journey into the forbidden. Subscribe to Forbidden Lore and step with us into the darkness where knowledge and myth meet. Like this video if the unknown still calls to you. Share it so others can descend with us into the stories the world tried to erase. Because the deeper we go, the closer we come to the truth. And here, in the realm of Forbidden Lore, the truth is never what it seems.